Hello and welcome to this third session of the Lich's Dreg. So I'm joined by Nicholas Carmago, that's going to play the Red Bastard, Yakreb, that's going to play Omelette, and GM Zonarar, that's going to be the GM, I guess. And sorry for being a little late. We had some technical issue, and also it's so damn early.
All right. Yeah, let's go. Let's get into it. The Lich has been defeated, and his minions are scattered across the realms. A generation later, we follow the story of the surviving tribes who once served a higher master, now left to fend for themselves in a world where order and civilization does not welcome them. At the outskirts of a town, Kaharn Pa'up.
I look at the sky, seeing the sun just rising. I turn back to Red Bastard and Omelette. So we made good time. Let's go try to get our glory. Start walking toward the town.
Falling behind. I'm behind Omelette. I'm still biting my fingernails and looking around, fidgeting a bit.
I've got the Hydra's head in my hands. I'm unbothered by the secretions that are kind of seeping out of its head stump.
The outskirts having a couple of pig farms, crude fences, the pigs themselves having several tusks, being taken care of by goblins.
I walk. I raise my arm above my head. I say, I'm coming, it's Kaharn Pa'up. I'm coming back from the hunt. I got some news.
Falling behind, I look to my right to some of the goblin slaves, and one of them catches my eyes. I do a little sign with my hands, signifying tonight meeting.
Signaling back. Omelette.
I pick up my pace and catch up to Kaharn Pa'up, so I can hold the Hydra's head up high while he's sort of showboating a little bit.
A couple of the goblins look up. One of them gets pushed over by the pigs as it's going for some of the mushrooms growing on the farms. You hear cheers going through their tiny, shrill voices, and some of the orcs hearing the message on the edge, yelling back, Kaharn Pa'up has returned! And a small wave of roars going through the village as they echo the sentiment.
I go to the center of the village, to the well, and I step up on the edge of the well. I put one of my feet just on the edge. I say, come over, come over. I got news to share with you.
A good 24 orcs and goblins congregate around you. Some sharpening their weapons, weaving the baskets, others listening to you.
I walk through the main gate. I have to dodge some of the bigger orcs walking, so I do not get trampled. And I'm still fidgeting a lot, touching my face, like rubbing my ears, looking around nervously.
As I make my way through the crowd towards the well, my tail kind of swings back and forth and slaps into some of the little goblins nearby, and I set the Hydra's head on the stone surface of the well.
A goblin creeps up to Omelette. He's holding up a bag and says, 5 elf ears! 5 elf ears for the head!
I look
Give
down
me-
at him and kind of peer into the bag
Yes,
as
long
if
ears.
I like lick my chops. I shoo him away.
Ah!
I'm standing on the side of the well. I slap my fist on my chest. I say, I have been to the woods on the outskirts of the territory, past, looking beyond what we claim as ours. And I encountered some beast. And I point at the head and open my hand.
I raise it up.
Some murmurings going through the crowd, talking to each other. One calls it a salamander. The other one states it's a dragon. Some arguing back and forth.
I grab the head and I raise it. I chop off this head from the beast, but he had many more. It didn't die. In fact, 2 head grew back to replace this one. And I give it back to Omelette.
I catch it.
I am more in amidst the crowd than with both of Kaharn and Omelette.
Some of the kin congregate next to you, red bastard. Omelette.
I'm standing beside the well, just holding the Hydra's head and kind of displaying it to the crowd.
The crowd
keep,
themselves go through a hushed voice and awes, especially the weak ones, impressed by this feat.
I'm taking in vibing the crowd, right? Taking in the oohs and ahs and the murmur, and I keep like showboating, trying to make myself as grand as possible. I say, in the time of the Lord Nadib Shipop, it is said that some of those beasts or similar one were used in the war. I want to go back out there and capture that beast. That's why I didn't kill it.
Make a performance. Many nodding heads, some of them clapping, others yelling out, cheering. One of them steps forward, a robed figure, gaunt, too small, too thin for an orc, but taller than a goblin, with a covered face, talking out. The monster you're speaking of, it must be a hydra then, leaning on a twisted gnarled stick with an onyx at its top.
Say,
I timing between the gasps. I pull the arm of one goblin and I whisper in goblin in his ear, "We must meet soon, soon."
I let the
I said,
group know.
an Hydra it is then. With such a beast, we can bring back our clan to the top. I also, on the way back, encounter some men inside the territory. I was resting in my outpost on the edge of her land, and men came in. I turned to Rat Bastard. I'm looking at it from my eyes. I say, Rat, the dagger.
I step forth, like in this tiny bubble of space in between the crowd. My ears are touching both my shoulders. Yes, Master Kai. And like I put my hand inside my robe and I start fumbling myself, like tapping myself, like Master, like meekly looking up.
All heads turn to Red Bastard, expecting the price.
I start looking around and maybe Master, maybe your humble servant has dropped the dagger. But and I try to. I fought men. It is true.
I shake my head and I say, Goblin was so stupid and ungrateful. Why do we
Like
even keep
coward.
him around?
Some
But we do encounter
orcish,
men.
some orcish curses. Only a goblin can lose a valuable weapon. Omelette.
I've taken to kind of just licking some of the blood that's still congealing on the head as I sort of vacantly look out at the crowd.
A goblin that you shoot away come back to you and it's holding up one ear. Says, the tongue for an ear. Only the tongue. You can keep the head.
I shoo him away again.
Ah.
I bring my arm down and I say, I must now rest, but soon we will get an expedition to go back in the wood and capture that beast. I will need some volunteer, brave orc. I will need some rope and some ration. It is a dangerous beast.
The cloaked
The other-
man, the cloaked figure speaks up with a smooth voice. An expedition must be approved by the war chief.
The war chief.
I'm still cowering, like making myself really small and insignificant just to not draw any more attention.
I'm making my way over to the orc that identified this head as a hydra, and I'm holding it in my. I'm still carrying it in my claws, and I ask him, "How do you know about this creature?"
this creature himself stepping closer to him, seeing under the hood. His skin is not as rough and as dense as those of an orc, more of a human, but pale, drained of blood. And he says, I've heard of them before. I was there when they were used. I did not think that one would still be alive, much less in the woods in this area.
I spit on the ground and I say, "Where is the war chief?" And I look at the crowd. How does he didn't show himself for such an occasion when I bring back such a trophy?
I'm slowly moving as to get back into the crowd without getting much attention. In between, when people direct their attention towards Kaharn, tiny step every now and then.
Some of the orcs exchange looks, looking a bit nervous not to speak out of line. One of the goblins speak up. He's using his pleasure slaves, I believe.
Pleasure, when the man at our doorstep. I shake my head. I step down from the well and I start walking toward the chief's hut. And I wave a omelet to follow me.
I look at the figure that I was speaking to and I tell him, I'll talk to you later. And I step away and follow after Kaharn.
I go around the fountain to dodging everybody's legs, going between their feet, still very low to the ground.
See that you do. Inform me of your departure, Lizardkin. As he pulls out a big tome, opening it up and writing with a long raven feather inside.
I nod as I turn away.
The hut, built out of tusks the size of a mammoth, 2 stories tall, functioning as an outlook on top of a tent with a couple of archers positioned on top of it, looking outside. Big leather flaps covering the entrance.
I push one of the leather flaps and I walk in. I say, "Chief, here is Kaharn Pa'up, coming back with some news. Grave news."
You see the insides covered in pelts, riches, gold piled on one side, different meats put up on over a fire, cooking by itself. You hear the moaning of women coming from another flap separating his resting area from the war room. And you hear the distinct grunts of the war chief. You wait there, yelling through.
I scuttle through the flap door as well. Still very low to the ground, just to be there. I'm behind Kaharn.
I follow in after as well, lifting up the flap and um, smelling the air as this meat's cooking.
I go to the meat and I like to the fire and I grab a piece of meat there and I start like chomping on it, turning to where the noise was coming from.
The voice of a frail woman yelping out in pain, and an orc grunting coming to a stop, taking some time.
I in the corner. I'm almost touching this log as support log. My eyes are looking at the gold, but I'm like still very low to the ground, just eyeing it.
A stray necklace is separated from the pile out of silver. Omelette.
Um, my hands are full, but I watch Corn as he's chewing on some of the meat that's cooking, like a dog begging for a scrap.
But I notice Omelette looking at me. I say, put that down on the table and help yourself, boy. You deserve it.
I set it on the table with a squish and make my way over to the fire to help myself.
I move
A good
toward
minute
the
passes.
I go toward the flap where the grunting was coming from, and I just open it. I said, Chief.
The chief himself turns to you, good 2 meters tall, as he stretches through his back and rolls his shoulder. In front of him, a frail human woman whose pink skin has turned blue and black at some places, covered with a thin sheet of weird a weird rug the humans like to create. Says, "What is it, Corn Pop? Can't wait for me to finish? Why, you want to be next?"
Don't stop for me. You can keep on. I just came for some news. Don't stop your pleasure for me. You can listen while you fuck, right?
Still on the wooden the log. I direct my ears towards the flap, the room, but I'm still looking and like fumbling my fingers at the necklace, like fiddling, but ears directed.
A warrior calls my attention. I don't like to split it in twine. He steps out of the tent, throws over a rug over his a loincloth, throws over a loincloth, and steps through the rug towards the meat, grabbing the biggest piece, chewing into it.
I follow
Waves
behind him.
for the floor around a low table. Take your seat, Corn.
I sit down, chewing on the meat as well that I took from his rack, and I point at the head on the table. Say, I come back from the outskirt. How about trophy for the tribe? This is an Igra.
Hydra. Tell me more about this creature.
You see the head over there?
Looks over at Omelette.
I'm still eating his meat next to the fire.
I say, Rat, bring the head closer so the chief can peek at him.
Oh yeah, I snap my head. Now holding my own wrist. Yes, master. I scurry to the head. Struggling a bit, I manage to lift it over me and on top of the table, shaking a bit of the paraphernalia on top of the table.
He lets out a whistle. A hydra, you say? Looks like a dragon. Interesting. Did it speak?
I didn't try to chat with it. But you see this head? He had many more like that. Countless number. And when I cut this one, 2 more came from the same neck.
He nods. Looks at the lizard folk. What does your slave think about this hydra? Does he know of such creatures?
I gulp the piece of meat that I was chewing on, and I say, "No, war chief. Never seen this before."
He was useful in the fighting of this beast. He has his use.
I'm to the side of the table. Once again, like I'm squatting on the ground.
All right. So you wish to hunt it for the tribe?
I wish to capture it so we can use it in war. But capturing it without killing it is not going to be immense affair. I let it live so we can try to get it alive.
He's ruminating, scratching his chin. All right. You bring me ahead. I give you a hunting party. Take 4. Go out and bring back the hydra. Whoever you can convince to join you.
I will need some rest, and I will go in a few days. This was
Fine.
a difficult fight.
I'm picking from inside of my ear with my pinky finger. Pull out a huge chunk of black wax and rub on the ground.
I look to Korn and I say, "Master Korn, what about the humans?"
Oh yes, Omelette, you're right. Chief, we also fought humans inside the territory. I was resting on my way back to do my report on my little hut on the outskirt when 2 humans showed up.
His jaws tighten and split the bone of the meat he's chewing on, splintering the bone itself. Humans. Have you recognized an insignia? Sign. What tribe do they belong to?
I shake my head. Say, I wouldn't be able to tell.
He looks over to the
My
goblin. Eyes transfixed on you.
I instantly cower, go lower to the ground.
Surely your slave has seen something of use.
Before I say anything, just my eyes, I direct towards Kaharn, see if I can speak.
I raise my head. Go ahead.
Without looking directly in the eyes of the war chief, no recognizable sign, Master War Chief, but surely humans. Yes, look like a hunt party. Yes.
Say, those goblin, you can get much from them. I tap on the chief's shoulder and I lean closer a bit and I say, but I can tell you one thing. Those human were delicious. And I do a big Billy laugh.
He says, goblins, you can't live with them. You can't live without them.
I'm scratching my arm that was wounded before.
I give you 3 days. Then go out and recover the heads. I mean, the rest of the Hydra.
I will. And I get
He
up.
leans back, takes another bite. Done with business.
I finish sucking the meat from the bone of the morsel I had. I throw the bone in a heap on the floor. And I turn toward the door.
Speaks up. A hunting party can mean one thing. The humans are expanding. If they do not have color, they might not have a tribe. Easy pickings for us.
See, if they're hunting in our land, they must have a settlement nearby or a camp or something.
He nods.
I turn. I say, I'll be glad to go investigate that once we dealt with that beast. I turn back toward the door and say, oh, also, by the way, we lost one of the young one. Too weak to make it back.
My ears, they perk up a bit.
And I step out.
I follow
Looks
behind.
nice. Kids these days just don't have it in them.
I watch as Rat scurries out underneath the tent flap, and I like give a short bow to the war chief, and then follow Rat out of the tent.
War chief yelling to somebody else. Ready for round 2? Stepping away.
Oh yeah. I approach Kaharn's left side, a good 2 meter distance. Master, do you wish me to run your errands? But you rest.
I unstrap my 2 ale skin and I give them to Rat. Say, yes, please. Go fill those up.
Yes, but for even more, so you can have a reserve, Master.
Get what you can. It's never too much.
I fast them on my belt and Slowly backing away and nodding, bowing.
Goblins crossing the street with a cart full of mushrooms leading towards the village center, where orcs and goblins are bartering back and forth for resources. Omelette.
I approach Korn and I say, that sage old man seemed to know about this creature. We should talk to him.
Let's talk to him tomorrow. I need to rest. And I need to drink.
Yes, master.
And I toward the not having a bed on my own in this town. I go to the longhouse.
I'm making my way to the center where all the other orcs and goblins trade. I approach a goblin, a more yellowish goblin. I've come to barter for wine. Speaking in Orcish.
He's yelling out towards you, offering a selection. Why yes, a mushroom wine is ripe and finished, ready to be enjoyed. If you have something to trade with, of course. Yeah. Engages in the ritual of exchange with you.
Yes. I pull out a hatchet, put on his little stand table.
Big
and I pull
eyes.
out the two flasks, two empty wine skins, water skins. But not only refill. Get me two more.
Takes the hatchet, snatches it away from you, holding it up, giving it a good sniff. He chops into the table, see how well it sticks. I can refill them, give you one.
I just snarl a bit. Fine.
Long, fiendish grin over his face as he pushes the axe into the barrel and floods out some of the wine into the skins, refilling them, handing three back to you. Omelette.
While Rat's engaged in his bartering, I've crept up behind him and I'm standing right behind him, kind of just hovering over him.
I'm getting to the longhouse. I push the skin that serves as a door. I get in. I look around, taking the smell. Meat cooking, like the permanent stew. Always like on the stove where they always add water or meat when it's getting too lean or too thick. The smoke of the fire. I step in. I sit on a low table. Just a log on the floor that serves as a bench. And I slap my hand on the table. I said, "Can someone bring you something to drink? I had a long walk coming back."
An orc woman with a brown skin and small tusks shows up and slides a tankard of ale in front of you.
Grab the tanker. I raise it in front of me, and I start like drinking it. I drink half of it in one shot, slamming back on the table. That do some good.
Several of the orcs cheer, most of them smash drunk this early in the morning, ready to sleep through the scorching day.
Back to the market. I realize Omelette behind me. I look back and forth to Omelette and the other goblin. And now grinning, I look back at the goblin. And I heard in goblin, perhaps you reconsider another full water skin.
But the deal was struck. I thought we agreed.
I just keep smiling. I extend my hand.
He hesitates and tilts his head back and forth, pulls out another wineskin, builds it up, tosses it onto the table.
Back in Arkish. Much pleased. And I extend it so Ahmad can pick it up.
You scoundrel! You're playing unfair! You're cheating! Looking up at the lizard.
I see Rat Bastard smiling, and I do my best imitation of a smile, and I just bare my teeth, looking at the little goblin merchant.
Before he says anything, and hush now. And I do like a sign, like we have meeting later.
Looks confused.
I start walking. Omelette,
I follow
bring
after.
back the wine for master. I'll run other errands.
I give Rat Bastard a little nod.
The marketplace is lightening up. The further the sun goes up, most of the creatures going to bed and being active at night.
I start making my way to the edge of the fence. And I go through one of the gaps of the sticky log, the logs that have pointed to a sharp end, palisade, and run off to the woods.
I make my way across the village over to the longhouse, where I know Karen will be staying.
I'm at the table with my tankard of ale. I put 2 fingers in the skin skirt of the lady that brought me the ale, and I pull her on my lap. I grab her. I say, I'm tired and I need to rest, but I do have a bit of reserve energy for you.
She lets out a giggle, seeming quite flattered.
And I with her on my laps, I keep drinking my ale.
Red bastard. The forced being a day's walk away. The village in the middle of the Badlands.
I keep looking like over my shoulder all the way, making sure no orcs are seeing me. To the few goblins that catch my glance, I flash a sign real quick.
They reciprocate.
Making my own, dodging trees, jumping over carcasses of animals.
I open up the flap of the longhouse and go inside and see this this orc gal sitting in Karen's lap, and I just barge in.
With the light from the outside coming in, when the flap is open, I turn toward the door and I see Omelette. I say, "Oh, my boy, grab yourself something to eat and something to drink, and maybe some company for the night if you can find something you like."
I give Karen a nod and set the wineskin down on the table in front of him, and then scurry off to find a place to rest.
A couple of the orcs turn themselves to your table, Kaharn, and speak out. You've been gone for days. Tell us, what have you met out there? We want to hear your story. Yes. Seeming eager to hear from the more experienced warrior. They look young.
I take a long sip of my tankard. I empty it. I push it at the table. I say, "Go refill that and I'll tell you the story."
One orc slaps the other one on the shoulder. He rubs his arm and refills the tankard.
Taking again like a long sip, making them wait.
Their eyes shift, uncomfortable under the pressure, holding it relatively well, not really. Inexperience in their eyes.
Tell them, like, we come across a monster with multiple head. An hydra, they call it. When you cut one of the head, two come out. I will need some experienced fighter to go back out and capture that monster, so we can use it in war. None of you help. I'll need men.
One of them was about to
real grip.
One of them was about to speak up as you called him out. Bites his tongue. Like, please, Kaharn. I can fight. I just need to prove myself. Don't leave me in the camp.
We already lost a young one to that monster. This is not monster to prove yourself.
They exchange glances. But what the smaller one speaks up. Who did you lose?
Who care? He was an orc material. You know we do thing.
I
chuckle.
Now in
The
the
bigger one chuckles
forest.
with you.
Now
Go
in
ahead.
the forest, surrounded by few, like a dozen other goblins. I'm holding this like a scalp in my hand, and I Mod was killed by Khan. Now, we need more intrigue, more vitriol. I'm looking at all of them. I point at one. You found a bite. What have you done to further intrigue? And I toss him the scalp so he can speak. It's an orc scalp.
He takes the scalp. If he killed Mord, then he's a traitor to Orc. But Orc will not believe Goblin. How do we convince? He
Spread
throws the scalp
rumors.
back to you.
Spread rumors. All of you. All of you. Plus, Kaharn wants to overthrow Chief. We must help so then we help overthrow Khan later. And I extend the hand with the scalp so whoever wants to speak next can pick it up.
A more wrinkled goblin steps up and snatches it from you. Deft, stealthy fingers, snatching it. A strong arm. He speaks. Spreading rumors are good. Let the orcs be confused. They cannot tell right from wrong if there's enough rage between their ears.
I am nodding.
He hands it back.
And pick it up.
All of them rubbing their hands together.
They're like nodding. No.
I'm tucked away in a corner of the longhouse, and I've pulled a hot coal from the fire. I lay some incense on top of it, and it begins to smoke. And I reach into my pouch and I produce several human hand bones that I've picked clean, and I scatter them. And I look for omens in the bones, in the pattern as they lay out on the ground in front of me.
The bones twist and turn, falling amongst the ash, the charcoal.
I get up. I take up the broad that is on my lap, and I get up. I pick up the wineskin that Omelette brought back. I say, Omelette, I'm gonna retire for the rest of the day. You're free to do as you wish. And I head toward like one little bunk on the side. I drag the girl with me, female orc with me.
I don't respond. I'm deeply focused.
Yeah, and I disappear
She
in the bunk.
following you, talking in Orcish. Let's have some fun. A small boy sweeping the area of the longhouse, Orcish blood, but with a smaller frame. A half-breed cleaning up the tavern as the last orcs are too drunk to go home and too sleepy to get another drink.
Back in the little goblin agglomeration, again with the scalp on one hand, and now I'm walking, beating circles, showing myself to the other goblins. Blast! Stupid Kaharn will make a hunt party. They wish to hunt for the beast. We can leverage that. If one of your brutes is assembled, try poisoning him, make him weak, so Kaharn looks like bad leader. And I kick the ground.
Yeah. Poison
Enough.
corn.
Yes. And before I'm going to put the scope down like this flat stone, and I raise it up. Not a thing. Humans in the outskirts.
They all look back and forth, talking. Humans? No. No way. They cannot
Oh, wait.
be. That's too close.
Any of you brainlets can speak common?
They look around. One of them steps forward. He's wearing a vest over his thin body. Says, I speak human tongue.
Good. Humans greedy. We may trade the brutes.
What can we offer that humans want? Gold
We know.
works good.
Not bold, you. And I slap him with the scope. Stupid. We trade the camp. They sack the camp, kill the orcs. We grab what we can and we run off.
He looks confused. Trade the camp. Have them raid the orcs.
Exactly. Orcs, they won't look for us when under attack by humans. If everything else fails, we have that.
More and more goblins start rubbing their hands as they click the ideas in their heads. Yes.
As I stare down at these bones that I've scattered, the shapes of each bone morphs into the shape of a body, and it looks like dozens of bodies laying slain in a circle.
And with that, the day passes. And night comes.
I wake up from a little activity and a little rest in the long house. Now the freshness of the night coming in. I sit on the back of the car of my cot, rubbing my leg. Look around me. I'm alone. I grab the wineskin that is nearby, one of those that Omelette brought back. I open it, take a big swig, put the cork back in.
By this time I'm back at Kaharn's hut, and I'm sleeping on like a bed of hay, scattered hay. Sleeping with my almost like a dog, like over my own hands, my head directed towards the entrance. My ears are like I'm twitching a bit, taking my few minutes of rest I can take.
When I wake up, I hear Kaharn moving about, and I walk over to him and I ask, Master, how are your wounds?
I move around, test my shoulder a bit. They're doing well, thanks to you. But I wish to have some days to rest, so I can have some of my magic back. When a chance to capture this Hydra. The chief says 3 days before leaving, so we might have to do without.
Looking a little bit closer at his scars, I see that they're healing well, and they don't seem to be showing signs of infection. And I give Kaharn a nod.
We'll have to look for. And I start like speaking a bit lower. We'll have to look for volunteer. We need good, capable orc. But we need some that are not too ambitious and can listen to order. I think we should start with Zoltar. You know what I'm thinking? If we can't capture that Hydra, we should be chief.
I look Kaharn in the eye and I say, do you intend to, with my voice low, I say, do you intend to kill the war chief?
It would have to be done. And then who would oppose us? With such a monster, you see what it can do. We just need to control it.
From inside Kaharn's hut. Still sleeping, but two orcs walking outside, being boisterous, shake me awake. I jump awake and my hand goes direct to my dagger. I look around, I calm myself down.
Stepping past you, walking down the pathway. The loud
I rub my
footsteps rumbling the flooring.
I rub my face, grunting. I grab a half-eaten piece of meat and make my and go outside.
Several orcs coming together, bows bound over their shoulders, couple hunting spears, as a squad leaves the village for a hunting trip.
I stop and let them go, just to not be in front of them. And I look
Step
around.
aside, goblin! Pushing you to the floor.
I fall on the ground. I whimper a bit.
The younger ones laugh at you.
Once they turn away their heads, I snarl. I look around and I see Longhouse. Kind of shake my head and make my way there.
I look at Omelette. I said, you said that the old sage knew something about this monster. Maybe it's worth talking to him first.
He seemed to, yes, master.
I slap my thigh and I get up. I stretch. Let's grab a piece to eat and let's go talk to him.
Master, I saw dark omens. I'm worried that our path may lead to danger.
I now lift the flap. Instead of going through the middle, I lift to the side, looking to not be trampled. And I'm now inside, looking around, trying to spot Kaharn and Homa in the main hall.
I put my hand on Omelet's shoulder. I say, "Danger is the way of the orc." And I step out of the little bunk to the main hall.
Couple goblins cleaning up the floor with wet rags, getting rid of the ale stains. Most orcs having left at this point to go on a hunt or about their work.
I'm still on the right in front of the flaps. Make myself tall so I can try to look over the tables. I spot Kaharn and I go into meek mode.
I move toward the big pot in the center on the fire, and I grab like 2 wooden bowl, and I fill them with this permanent stew. Then I spot rat, and I grab a third bowl and start filling it. I say, "Rat," and I extend the bowl to him.
From across the so-called room, I bow. Yes, master. Projecting my voice and make over to him. And there's a goblin on my right. He's cleaning right where I'm going to step. I kick his hand.
"You're getting scrawny. You need to eat something."
I climb on the stool and sit down. I pick the bowl. Thank you very much, master. All your errands have been run for the day. And I licking myself.
Sit at the table. I put one ball in front of me and one ball across the table. And I'm looking toward the flap in the bunk where I was with Omelette previously.
I walk out of the bunk slowly, kind of staring off in the distance a little bit, and I notice Rat and Karen at the table and approach them.
My face deep in the bowl is still making almost pig-like noises eating the stew.
I'm just scooping it with like my finger like that. The piece of like unknown meat.
The fire itself put in a fire pit in the middle of the longhouse on a campfire on the dirt. As the wooden floors are elevated above it, the big cauldron pot in the center with boiling broth and soup. Different meats having cooking in there for weeks, some even for months, as the soup is regenerated every day by the meals brought in from the hunters.
I put down, clunking the empty wooden bowl. I wipe my own mouth, let out a raspy burp, like. I look at Kaharn, awaiting for something.
I look at Rat. I say, so where did you spend the day?
I drip down a bit. I bought it, master. Also, clean your hut alongside the waste bucket, sir.
I look away without an answer. I'm looking at
Get
I
your
look at
wine,
Omelette.
master. I
I take a seat at the table, but I don't start eating. I'm kind of just staring into the bowl.
So what's wrong, boy? You're not hungry?
I grab the bowl and start slurping.
You'll need your strength. We're gonna leave soon.
I look around a bit. I see like 3 goblins not so far. Now I go over the table to whisper to Karn. What about the hunt part, master? The hunt party. You wish me to contribute? Looking around.
With Goblin?
Oh, stupid goblins. Not good for nothing.
No. You're just good for errand cleaning. I spit on the ground.
I sit back.
One of the goblins with the wet rags scoot closer and clean away the spit.
I look at the goblin.
Vigorously.
Alright, finish up your grub. We have
I
to
lick
get
the ball.
A few orcs come in for the feast to start the day with. The half-breed child coming over to the group to fill up bowls with a ladle and hand it to the orcs. They grunt in Orcish.
As I see the half-breed pass, I look at I nod at him. I nod toward him, looking at Rat. I say, "This thing should fucking be put in the stew." I don't know why we kept that around.
I smile like a piranha, back and forth at Karn and directly.
The green eyes of the orc child see you fear. He averts his gaze as the balls is snatched out of his hands, bruising him a bit. So the orcs take a seat and talk about their plans to each other.
Master Kaharn, we should speak to the sage.
Yes. We're heading there. And I put my bowl back down on the table and I get up. So let's go talk to the sage. Get the information we can. Knowledge is power.
I nod to myself and I hear that.
I tip my bowl back and finish off the last portion, and then sit it down and stand up.
The sprawling village in this badlands of craggy cliffs on top of a hill. The sage is known to rest.
Making my way.
Made out of wood.
I make my way to the village. nodding at some people I come across that I know. Make my way out to the hill. To the other of the sage.
I'm following, so always looking over my shoulders, dodging orc feet every now and then.
You hear
Follow.
goblins informing their masters about happenings of the village, mixing lies with truths. As the orcs nod, gullible.
I follow Rat and Karn at Karen's heel.
On top of the hill, the hut itself. Behind it, like a old way of crafting graves, big stones the sizes of an orc, or some even of an ogre, standing upright and holding a bigger stone aloft, spread over it like a Stonehenge. Being able to squeeze between the stones if wanted, the scent of the dead reaching Omelet's nose, stemming from the center of that structure.
I go to the door of the hut. I open it just a little bit, and carefully I stick my head in. I said, "This is Kaharn Pa'up. I'm looking for some advice." And I'm listening, looking around.
You hear a broom sweeping, vacant otherwise. No response.
I open the door completely and I walk in.
The broom
Hello.
sweeps by itself across the flooring.
I grab the broom. Stop it. And I let it go.
It becomes quite agitated as you grab it and starts slapping against you like it has a will on its own.
I let it go, pushing it away. I turn around.
I'm peering
Red
into
bastard.
the doorway behind.
So do I soon after I cringe at the broom, like almost like as if it's gonna hurt me. I'm looking around. On one of the walls there is a hanged thorn piece of silk, and there is a symbol of a skull with bug wings, elytra, along as well as the with the pincers. And I bow the symbol, and I whisper, "Nadib, Nadib."
Behind you, soft footsteps approach with a soft voice. So, Goblin, you've come to meet with me? Over your shoulder, from behind, the dark figure in black robes, holding a stave.
I scuttle to the side. Master Khan, like avoiding eyes.
I turn around. I said, "This is Kaharn Pa'up. I come from some advice."
He nods, leads himself into the hut, and snaps at the broom as it falls inanimate to the floor.
I
Takes
jump when
a
it hits the floor.
I follow
seats
the hooded
himself
figure
on
into
a
the hut.
pillow. Take a seat. Let's talk.
I sit down on one of the pillow. I gesture to the other pillow next to me. Show some respect.
I look at
Looking over
Omelette.
to Red Bastard and Omelette.
I gesture to Omelette, like, go.
I shuffle in and take the seat next to Karen. And
I go behind them and squat down.
His face gaunt, bereft of much meat. The face uncovered with the hood down in his own hut. Hair almost gone. Some flimsy strands hanging on by dear life. He's holding the staff cross-legged over his legs and says, "Now you have some curious slaves with you, Kaharn. I did not know that we have an alliance with the lizard kin." Looking over to Omelette.
So this it's an egg I found on a raid long time ago.
I am listening. I'm looking around at all the mystical paraphernalia, herbs, bones, and charms.
I wanted to eat it, but my goblin suggested that we hatch it instead. And it turned out to be quite
Curious.
useful. He
He
has
leans back.
power. He can turn into beast. He's good in the fight. He's good to help healing. And also, and I turn toward the omelette. He can see omens.
Omelette.
looking up at the sage's gaunt face, I ask, "You told me that you knew about this creature. What can you tell us about it?"
Before we talk about the Hydra, I am curious. Kaharn, are your slaves bound to you properly?
Well, they are, right? You have to
My
keep an
ears.
eye on them. But they try to do what I tell them as best as they can, which is sometimes good, and I nod toward omelette, and sometimes not so good, and I nod toward rat.
Sheen almost touching the floor.
A thin smile over his lips. They can be difficult to work with. Control them too much, and then not much use of anything. Do not control them at all. They might think of themselves as free. If you need help, I can aid you with a spell for a price.
A spell? I got spell of my own, and I tap of my on my ill skin. I found that some generosity sometime is all you need.
This light side smile over on Red Bastard's face.
Generosity. That was not really the style of the Undying.
I make a sign when I hear the Undying to myself.
But every master has his plans.
I think a good leader know to reward his underling.
I'm watching the broom as it continues to make its rounds in the little hut.
It
So
definitely,
about
it definitely sweeps across the room, avoiding the four figures sitting inside as if it is aware of your presence. A faint glitter of magical hands across the broomstick. The longer you stare, Omelette, the more the shape of an unseen servant comes to light.
I catch Omelette's gaze at the broom, and I look back at the sage. I say, "You see, you got this magic to do your bidding, but it got no mind of its own. Having people free to think for themselves can sometimes make them more dangerous, but also sometimes more useful."
Ah, indeed, Kaharn. You are wise for your kind. I'm impressed. But even as it may, some thinkers can be controlled with the right spell. They can think, but some things are locked away if you know how to apply the incantations.
I heard about such story. By the
I'm
time
I'm distracted at uh, a mummified finger with a silver ring on it that is tied, like almost like touching with my imagination, like as if it were on my hands already.
The finger twitches.
I fall on my butt on the ground.
this is not what I came to inquire about. I want to know about the beast we encounter.
A hydra. Usually they have one head. The more
This
heads,
one has countless.
indeed, the more heads it has, the more battle it has seen. You split it off. Two more grow in its place. The clever ones gnaw off the damaged head to grow strong in power, especially under distress.
I I look toward Omelette. Raise my eyebrow.
I look at the gaunt old man and I say, so how do we subdue it?
Hydra does not like to be controlled. It's one such creature that is strong enough to ignore the influence of strong orcs such as you. You must bind him or break him. Now, I have such powers.
So if we bring back the Hydra to you, you can bind it with your magic.
I can.
But then
A
you'll be the
Hydra
one
is more than
controlling the
enough.
Hydra. Then you're gonna be the one controlling the monster.
Sensing some tension rising, my attention shifts back to the three talking.
Omelette.
So, what are you suggesting?
A faint smile. You bring the Hydra back. I can spell it. Make it follow the command on whoever I wish. If you bring back his body, it shall still serve. But its powers will be gone to grow back.
Behind Karn and Omelette, I adjust myself so right in between their arms, I can look at the old sage with just my left eye.
Even in death, it can still serve us.
So how do we capture it? We need to avoid cutting the head off. Constrain them with rope. Put hide over his face.
Its veins pumps with troll blood. It regenerates. Every second it heals itself. Overwhelming force can work, although few are strong enough to achieve such a feat. However, the application of fire will stall such effects. Burn it, and it will give you enough time to wound it. The fire eventually will weaken, and the blood will pump through and close the wounds. But careful application will keep it subdued.
Hearing this, I hold up one of my claws and I chant in Druidic. I say, Agni. And as I open my hand, there's a little flickering flame in the middle of my palm.
That will do.
Still,
I nod.
I'm still looking at them in between, their shoulders.
The blood cannot work while it is being burned. But if you give it too much time without the fire, the wounds will close and the heads will grow.
So we could get rid of most of the head, burn the stock, bring it back, and the head would come back after time.
Yes. Well, if you cut off all the heads in a short amount of time, the power, it has its limits. There's a point of no return. But I believe you can reduce it to one head and, who knows, shove a log into its mouth, return it. If you
What do you
have
know
a
about
beast of burden,
what do you know about the men encroaching on the territory?
what do you know?
Turn toward Rat and Omelette.
I walk to the side of Omelette so we can stand in a row. Just that they were men hunting. I could not see any sign on them.
He thinks, there is a barony in the region, far outside of the forest. If men have entered the forest, then they do not belong to the barony, which means they are free. Or, in their culture, they are bandits,
I
pirates,
say rusty
cutthroats.
weapons. They had rusty weapons.
I close my claw and extinguish the little flame that was flickering in my palm and put both of my hands into my lap.
I look at the sage. I say, "We're gonna get together a hunting party to go after that beast. Will you see us off and bless you with your magic?"
I will. When will you go? He looks over your body, spotting some of the more recent wounds, scars, scratching his chin.
We're gonna delay too much if we wanna find a chance to find the monster again.
He raises his hand towards some of the cupboards. Magical hand flickering into purple, puffing out of nowhere. He speaks a syllable, and he grabs a potion floating down towards Kaharn, corked inside a translucent liquid.
My head follows the bottle all the way through. I'm like I go on fours on the ground, almost like a scared cat looking at it.
I'm
Take
following the
this
bottle
with you.
I'm following the bottle with my head again, like with keeping my hands on my knees, not reaching for it. I look on the ground in front of me.
It's laid down, and the hand disappears.
Then I reach for the bottle within my pouch.
I narrow my
Ring.
eyes at Kaharn.
Return with the Hydra. Now, if you can tame such a beast, then you're truly a skilled warrior. But I have to hedge my bets. If you return it to me, I can lend its services to you.
What is that juice?
A concoction of my own making. It takes the life of another to return the life to the drink, to the man who drinks it.
I turn toward Omelette.
I reach across and pick up the potion from the ground in front of Karen and kind of swirl it in front of my face, and the crimson translucent liquid sloshes around inside. I uncork it and give it a sniff, put the cork back in, and
Roll for Arcana.
$15.
It is quite a powerful healing poultice, known as a superior healing potion that will regenerate whoever drinks it and bring back much of his vigor. Crafted out of the lifeblood of another being.
I put the cork back in and hand it to Karen, and I say, "Seems safe. This should
I raise
mend your wounds."
I raise my hand and say, "You hold on to it."
I carefully stow it away.
Then I bow my head down a bit, keeping my eyes on the sage. I say, "Thank you for your time," and I get up.
I walk to the side to give space, so to Omelette as well, like crawling on my own fours backwards.
May Nadib look upon you with splendor.
I bow my head a bit again, and I head toward the door.
I wait for Kaharn to go first. I stand to the side of the door, looking at him.
I give it a last look above my shoulder, and I step out.
You look at Omelette.
I stand up and look the man in the face and give a short bow as I make my way to the door and head out.
A small laughter escaping his lips as you leave.
I go soon after. But I leave looking at him all the time, not really looking over my back.
I'm walking to the street and I look at my two sleigh coming out. I look at Rad, I say, "I don't know if we can trust him. He's not orc."
I bounce twice ahead and stand on my feet and start walking beside Kaharn. And looking back at the shack. Yes, master. Bad Jojo. He has secret plans. I can tell.
I lean in towards my two companions and I say, he seemed to imply he has power over the dead.
Yeah,
He's no native.
he is not. But if he gains control of the Hydra, He could try to take control of the tribe.
We must have leverage, master.
Maybe we need to kill him.
But in the Hydra, and I keep looking around. Unless I look at Omelette, unless he can learn something.
Look at Omelette.
Omelet. I just shake my head, looking at the two of them. I say, I'm not sure what you mean. My magics, they come naturally. I've not had to learn.
Anyway, I won't. I wouldn't attack the sage without talking with the chief first. But maybe it's something to keep in mind.
I'm nodding.
Let's go see.
I'm nodding. You're swapping. Maybe Chief has leverage over Sage. Master can learn it, take it off himself. So Major Bay.
Let's go see Zoltar.
I nod and slow my pace, so I'm 2 meters behind him, behind the group.
I follow
Start
behind, and I walk up next to Karen as we're walking, and I say to him, as long as that sage is alive, he's competition. He has significant power.
I agree. You could want to take the lead. And I walk toward the outskirt of town to Zoltar's farm.
Pigs oinking in the way of the mud path towards the hut, erected, carved out of a massive tree stump that has a leather curtain in front of it. Pigs trying to eat the toenails of Red Bastard.
Like putting both my hands like, "Shoo, nasty beast."
I laugh and I say, we might have found a use for you, rat bastard. Pig feed. Right?
Like just to try to kick away the beast.
It strays away from you, starts worming up the mud, and pull out the roots and eat that instead.
I go to the door. I push up the leather flap. I get in. I say, Zoltar, it's Kaharn Pa'up. And I sit down at the table.
Corn Pop. Oh, nice that you've come visit me. The orc coming out of a small room, leading in. Muscular body, broad shoulders, green skin, a top knot.
Yeah.
I walk through as well, very low to the ground. I spot a goblin on the other corner, picking up fish scales.
He reaches out a big hand and says, "What, are your glory days behind you? And you're ready to become a pig farmer?"
Haven't you heard of my last expedition?
Indeed. You've slain a dragon, they say. Some call it as big as a mountain.
Not quite. It was a different monster. This Ed I brought back, he had countless of them. And I want to go back out there and capture it.
He nods.
I'm standing out in the mud, watching the pigs rut and chew on roots.
So let me guess. You want to pull in a favor?
I need a hunting party. It's gonna be difficult affair to capture this beast alive. You chop off one of his head, and two grow back instead.
Behind Kaharn, behind his chair. I turn my head towards the goblin and I start twitching my ears in a code, telling him pay attention.
The other goblin avoids eye contact and assumes a meek pose. Well, a hunting party does sound alluring. It's been a while since I've slain something bigger than a tree. Oh, the good old days. Reminiscence back. The hair in his top knot, some of them gray strands.
I need some people. I need some orc that can hold themselves in a fight, but also have the control to not kill this thing. Bring the it alive could help us increase our standing in the tribe quite a bit, if you know what I mean.
Oh, Karn. You have a way with words to make an old orc happy. To try to find an orc without bloodlust is like trying to bleed blood from a stone. It's not in our nature.
Yeah. But this monster could be a weapon for us.
Still behind Karn. Once again, I start twitching my ears, codifying need poison.
He signals back. He will have it tonight. In Thieves' Cant. Signals. Omelette.
I've lost interest in watching these pigs as they roll around in their own shit and filth. I make my way into the hut where the orcs are having their discussion.
Says,
Say, my cousin, I've been gone for a long time. What is happening with the tribe? What are the dynamics? The chief is too interested in pleasure and the pleasure slave. Doesn't have a belly for war anymore. Humans are encroaching our territory.
a big toothed grin over his face. Oh, Kaharn. So young. It is easy. Once you see the cycle, it returns and returns. Tribe used to be different when we had something to fight for. Now, the chieftain just wants to fight for himself. It is just that easy. Don't you see? Nobody wants to unite the tribes. He does not see past the horizon.
I do not trust this old sage. He has hidden agenda.
He looks confused. You mean Sork, the necromancer? He used
My
to
lord,
serve the old war chief. Many, a long time ago, when we were still at war with the humans. I did not know he was still alive.
I don't know if he is. But he still walk around and talk. He might have tasted of his own medicine.
Scratches his chin. Best be careful. He's dangerous. He was there during the war. He will have learned a trick or two. How many orcs do you know in the village that can speak the same?
I spend too much time in the outskirts. I don't know who can be trusted. Everybody got their own ambition.
He
You're the only
knows.
one I still know.
I'm still squatting behind Kaharn, 1 meter away from, backed away from the chair.
He leans in close and beckons you, Kaharn, to lean in over the table. Now the chieftain's son. He will want to leverage him to join your party. Refusal will be unacceptable. If he feels that you're threatening his position, using family to keep an eye on you, and join the hunting party, well, that's what I would do. Leans back. Get all the glory for himself. Use Kaharn as a pawn.
I lean back as well, put my hand to my chin, rubbing it. I will need some people on our side. Good orc, good fighter, good head on their shoulder, not too fond of the chief.
He nods. I will see what I can do. Some still respect my name. But most, they do not remember when I was still fighting. Now, the pig farm it is.
You're
It's
not
good
meant to be
money,
a
that.
farmer.
You should know, Kaharn. Steady living.
This is not the orc way. Farming, money.
Uh,
We're
you're
going
up
soft.
this.
We're no better than human now.
I hear you, cousin. I
I
will
want to
put
leave.
out the feelers and see who will join you.
I want to live in 2 days. I put my hand on the table. So can't the pig farmer afford ale anymore?
He waits for the goblin, and the goblin grabs a couple tankards, carefully crafted, studded with a couple of gleaming gemstones.
My eyes
Sign of
widen when I see the mugs.
identifiable as cheap gemstones for the gleaming goblin eye, filled with ale, and sliding the meek goblin hands towards both the orcs as he grabs a tankard and raises it to you.
Grab the other thinker. I raise it. I say, to a new one together.
A new hunt.
And I drink the thinker one shot.
As they cheers, I look once again to the goblin. I nod, and I signal, put it in the hidden cache, the hidden stash.
He signals. He nods. Under his gaze, eyes averting and going back to tending after the pigs with a long stick, pushing them around. Omelets.
I stand up from my spot next to Karen and kind of adjust my robe and or my like sash around my waist and turn towards the door.
I get up. I go around the table. I stand in front of a Zoltar and open up my arms.
He opens up both arms.
Give him a big hug. And I whisper in his ear, not too fond of the chief. And I let him go and I head toward the door.
See you around, cousin. As the leather flaps of the doors fall in place, we finish the session for tonight.
Yeah. There you go.
The
Orc Village Intrigue session.
Yeah. With the
Including
direction.
all of the horrible things that happen in such a place. All right.
Yeah,
Who wants to go first? Let's have a chat.
yeah. Let's have a chat. Let's hear
Yeah.
what you think.
I was struggling. Found it hard to really contribute today. I don't know if I just got off to a bad start because of my computer issues, or
Mhm.
um, I
I
guess
feel like. Go ahead.
I feel like my character is not it's not particularly suited for a whole lot of what
Like the
I don't know
social
how to put it.
interaction.
Yeah, because I don't know, like there's plenty of stuff that I wanted to do, but it didn't feel like it would make sense to do it didn't make sense for me to do. And so I was
Yeah.
almost kind of like leaning on I felt like I was leaning on other people to do the talking. And didn't
It's a
feel good.
strange dynamic. Didn't you feel like at some point to going off on your own? You could have go do your own stuff.
Maybe. But I mean the biggest thing I wanted to do was talk to
Sage.
that
The-
necromancer, yeah.
What
Yeah.
was his name, by the way? I wrote it down. Like I just got like sounds, Zaun.
His name
So-
was Sark. Sark.
Oh, okay.
Necromancer Sark.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, finish your thought. Go ahead.
so on the first day in the village, I was gonna while Rat Bastard was maybe doing some shopping, I was thinking about going there by myself, but you Corn instructed me like, oh, we'll do that tomorrow. So I was like,
Oh, you're right.
okay.
I kind of
Oh.
cock blocked you there. That's kind of a like, yeah. Sorry, like with the dynamic and stuff. I tried to include you too, right? Just like I
Yeah.
Mhm.
like I turned towards you and I let you talk and speak your mind and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I'm sorry if I block you in that instance.
No.
Yeah, we playing a D&D session. Two players are slaves to one player, and he's like, but I do all the talking, but I'm dumb as bread, so it's fine. It's like, and the other players at the table, no, let me help you. I can see that happen like so easily if you were like not paying attention to
Yeah.
it,
Mhm.
which I
But
think
may
you
I
did.
ask? May I ask? You said you thought of some things that then didn't make sense. Like what kind of things?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is that I'm trying to portray a character who is I'm trying to role play a character who is very like sheltered and kind of separated from um I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining this
You
correctly.
mean like separated from the social structure of how
Yeah,
things
so
work?
like socially unaware, like doesn't have
Yeah.
Mhm.
the doesn't like read body language, doesn't understand like
I think that's
personal
coming true.
personal space. But then when something interesting happens and I want to know more, I feel like I can't through my character get that information. I can't.
Oh,
It even felt out of character. It even felt out of character for me to like inquire about like inquire to the necromancer, these different questions and try to pry information out. I almost feel like I shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's challenging to kind of role play a character that's like a bit by nature, like a bit subdued, right? A bit aloof.
Yeah.
But it like it's coming true that you have this thing, right? Like this, it does feel like a bit alien, right? A bit like
Hmm.
It does feel like a
Mhm.
bit like like you would think a lizard would be. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Can like when the druid becomes an animal, can he communicate with that animal, like the same species?
Oh.
Mm, I mean, I don't think that's
Because I thought you were gonna do something with the pigs, like you're gonna become a pig and like I don't know, mingle. I thought you were going to do something like that.
The pigs.
I mean, I thought about it. I guess
It's like it's kind of him like exploring like almost like what is to be alive in a way, like trying to, because he is dislocated from his own species, so he's trying to pick up from different ones. That's what I thought you were going to do.
the thought crossed my mind, but I admit that I had the outer character consideration of like, oh, I don't want to burn resources just for
Oh,
So
You failed
maybe it would have been
yourself.
in character. It probably could have made sense to do, but I don't
Well,
know. What do I
I guess
do with another pig?
I guess it's also like a consideration. Well, let's not go there. I guess it's also a consideration of that you would have in character as well, like burning. Like you also know that this is a thing,
Yeah,
right? You can do
I
that
guess,
like
yeah.
so often.
I would
Yeah.
know in character as well that
Yeah.
you can't do this continuously forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It take you all weeks to restore your power.
yeah.
But and I'm sorry if I know that's also part of my nature, right? I do talk a lot. I have like a big mouth, so I know if like sometimes like I take a lot of room.
It's weird. I see this more as a problem from my end as a game master. I feel like it should fall on me. Like, okay, 2 players are slaves, but one of them is scheming. So I let Nicholas will come up with something.
Mhm.
So what I need to do is give him some space to plan, and not cut time too fast, like too often, so he can get schemes rolling. But
Yeah.
for Omelette, I struggled on how do I give him something that's cool for a druid to play with, to follow, like what's a hook I can offer for him to look after like throughout the 3 days. And I didn't really plant anything for you to like gnaw on.
Well,
Mhm.
I think I could have taken advantage of this necromancer's hut and just kind of like snooped around and like looked at all the knickknacks and paraphernalia that all the magical doodads and I could
Yeah.
have played around with that, but I don't know. I felt like I
Uh,
needed to be part of the conversation as well. I don't know.
Mhm. I was
Yeah,
also
I feel you.
expecting you, Zonar, to like to the necromancer to say something about like, oh, like kind of give it the impression that he knows what Omelette is, kind of to intrigue Omelette. But I don't know if Omelette would pick pick on that.
Yeah. He called you a lizard kin,
Yeah.
like one of the lizards. Like,
Yeah.
what is your knowledge of the Hydra? Do you recognize it? And it's also kind of up to you, with Omelets, to decide: do you have like a gene knowledge of anything that has to do with lizards or not, or
Yeah.
is it complete strange
My
because you've grown
ancestral
up
blood
amongst
memory.
more?
Yeah, you
Yes,
can be the poet Atreides of the lizard folk, lizard man.
it's like a king amongst lizard folk, the Hydra. You
Yeah.
follow him wherever it goes.
Well, I imagine that there are a lot of things that are just based on instinct, which I've been kind of playing the angle that my knowledge of magic is almost just purely instinct based. It's not
Mhm.
something that I've been like formally trained and like educated on. It just makes sense to me. It's like
Yeah,
just comes naturally.
I like that. It actually makes it really easy for D&D, because how do you realize what is a magical item? Like by the book, you roll an Arcana check and you take an
Mhm.
hour, or you cast a spell. So like I'm using the Arcana check for you to pass or fail, because knowing what the potion does have an impact on Karn if he chooses to drink it or feed it somebody. You know?
Yeah.
I did like that you kind of implied that just through studying observation, I could almost see the magic happening with the broom.
I thought it
That
was
was
a cool
cool.
moment. Maybe just the wording you see, you know, but I don't know how to convey that, like only you know,
Mhm.
without verbing the guy. But it was a cool. I like that too.
Yeah, yes, I was proud of that, I gotta say.
Very good.
Playing with the information a bit of how much you recognize.
Yeah. No, I like well, obviously like I'm very involved in that, right? But I like all the different like thread kind of like getting pulled, right? With the politics, with the orcs, the chief.
I was very tempted. I was very tempted to tell you, like, hey, we should go talk to your brother or your cousin or something. So I'm glad that happened without me putting it in there. But yeah, I was thinking like we got to have people in the clan that are loyal to you or resentful of the current war chief. There's got to be people, orcs out there that fit the bill,
Yeah.
you know.
By the
Mhm.
way, did you mention Zoltar beforehand? Because I completely forgot. You mentioned I'm gonna visit Zoltar. I had absolutely
Yeah.
no idea who you were talking about.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah,
kind of,
mention it.
I was a bit waiting, like how much information you give me before I start filling in the blanks, because I
No,
did not want to get the wrong information across.
I mentioned it once before we went to in the morning, but not in the morning because like we woke up in the evening, right? But when I woke up
Yeah,
in the long house, and then I mentioned it in once there, but then I said let's go see the sage first, and then like after the sage, I said okay, let's go see
got it.
Zoltar.
Yeah,
I figured it'd be some kind of like a woodsman who's just strong from chopping down trees and carrying lumber, or a blacksmith or somebody, you know. But a corn-fed farmer, that fits the bill too, you know.
An orc of your talents, you know.
He's a veteran, right? Just like he's a bit
yeah,
old. But
yeah. He was there 3,000 years ago during the war, you know.
I wanted to play like the thing of not like yeah I'm not that much in the village anymore, right? Because like I my
Mhm.
that's
Oh
something else
yeah,
I
I
want to
like that.
mention on the outskirt, right? So like I need to rely a bit on like this guy, my cousin, right? Basically,
Oh, I thought you had
Yeah.
two huts. I thought you had one inside and you had like just a tent, well, all the way, you know, back near the
no,
Hydra.
I
no,
noticed.
That's why I
I
said like
noticed that
I
you were
went to
doing that.
your own hut to sleep, you know.
no, and I
This is the
mentioned like
longhouse.
yeah, when I went to the longhouse, I didn't mention like not having a bed in this town, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
Like
did
I'm
not
visiting
hear
the
that.
longhouse.
Okay, so
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
paradox there.
I like that a lot. That little addition made it much more vivid in my mind. Like, oh yeah, you are like an outrunner on the outskirts of town, more towards nature than civilization.
I guess I was
Even
sleeping
amongst orcs.
in some other orc's house, then,
All right.
which makes it kind of funny, I guess.
Well, when did I
You
get a
can get
new goblin slave? I don't know.
isn't like sometimes people be like, yeah, like I saw, I thought I had one cat, but then I see like two of my cats in the same st- you know, that first one was my goblin. It's like,
yeah. The and there's a few times like that. Like at some point also like the bottle. After like I let the necromancer put the bottle in front of me, I said I put it in my pouch, right? And then like
mm,
Calvin like reached out to it. Like so there's a few times, like a few things that
Ah.
we didn't quite listen, and I might have done myself, but I cannot tell because if it was
I
something I didn't hear, right?
you did.
I'm sorry. I could have
Andrew.
I could have swore you said, I could have swore it was like floating in front of you with a hand. and then you like refuse to grab it from the
Yeah.
air. So
Yeah,
then
initially.
that's what I
the hand set
thought
it on the
at
ground.
start.
I thought it was on the ground still. Maybe I missed that part.
No, after
Mm.
he said like he put it in the ground, then I said, then I grab it and put it in my pouch.
Yeah,
But
I
I guess
remember hearing
Oh,
like
that.
okay.
maybe I didn't speak loud enough, or maybe like it wasn't heard, or
Mhm.
it's no big deal, because then like, well, okay, then I guess I didn't, right? Just like I sometimes like we misheard,
Nope.
we don't,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
did
But yeah.
after you, I guess after you put it in a pouch, you did like cue me to like investigate it, right? Or what did you? I thought that was you, right?
He looked at you like kind of imply. I got that same implication.
Yeah, no, but I ask what it does, and then like I give a look at I looked at you, but like I was more like yeah, I just wanted to have your input. But it's
Come on,
it's good that you,
magical lizard. What does the
yeah,
potion do?
in the end it did
Yeah.
better, like it went better than you were still on the ground, because then it could give you something to do, right? Just like that.
Mhm.
Did you like how I tried to Corn Pop just like getting into people's house without knocking, without like just getting in?
I
Just
like
Classic
it.
yelling.
protagonist.
Yeah.
I like it even more that all the orcs, they don't care. It's like, ah, yeah,
Yeah.
an orc wants something, he will go in and get it. You know, if you want to stop him, you have to give him a reason to.
They have a wooden door, you know.
Yeah.
So first place.
Yeah.
What do you
That's kind
think we're gonna do? Ring the bell like humans? Nah.
that's like kind of like the kind of the cultural kind of vibe I want to give. Like, there's no like etiquette really. Like people just fucking like get in people's
Yeah.
house and yell. Except for the necromancer, where I've been a bit more careful, right? Just like because
Like
that's an
suspicious,
outsider.
yeah.
And
What did you
I
guys
knew
think when I made
exactly.
up like the I guess the what's the word for not insignia? Like there's
The
a country they have a symbol, I forgot, crest. When I made up the
Yes,
crest for the Lich.
Oh yeah, that was good.
that
I
I
was
like
thought, you know,
pretty
like
that's a
good.
good
kind of the
addition.
Egyptian vibe. So it's like
Yeah,
the sun beetle, but instead, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was a good. Add some flavor there.
There were like several things that were happening that I just cannot mention to the players because none of you
Yeah.
would notice because it's magical, right?
Mhm.
And the wizard. Well, I was implying it,
Oh,
but
I
like
like the finger
nobody.
wiggling.
Yes, the finger wriggling
Yeah.
twitches with
That was a
you.
cool scene. It felt very movie-like, you know.
But do you guys know what like those? It's like a grave, but like one of those. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
Neolithic, but it's just
Yeah.
like stones on top of each other. But they're
Monolith.
not small stones like a stone grave. They're like really big ones. The stones are as big
Okay.
as orcs,
Yeah.
and some even bigger.
Some monolith, I
Yeah.
guess. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
and I wanted to imply that's where the wizard sleeps. So when you entered the house, he knew, oh, somebody's here, and approaches from behind, like walking up to you. And who's
Dracula's
behind first
himself.
is Nicholas' character. It's like, oh, hello.
I think you might be thinking of a barrow.
Okay, like a crypt, right? A barrel, yeah.
I'll have to. I don't.
Some
Yeah,
dolmen.
but
Yeah.
like how I want to ask you a question, Lar, like because there's a
Yeah.
lot of things for you to work with. I feel like we've introduced like we throw many bombs at you, you know,
Yeah.
like you got quite a
Yeah.
lot on your hand.
Absolutely. I've many ideas. I think this is really cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
go
Well,
ahead.
I
No,
have
finish
I
up.
have a few ideas. First of all, how do you feel about orc politics? Because it almost feels like nobody wanted to go in that direction of politicking amongst orcs. Like what they do is beat people up, and I wanted to give some.
Hmm.
I don't know. I always like the idea of, well, there are like different ways to gain power in orc society. Chief amongst them is you kill the chieftain, become the chieftain.
Yeah, I imagine that while orcs probably have preferences and loyalties, I think that they probably value strength above all
Yeah.
else, and they probably oh geez, what's the word I'm looking for? Even though they don't like it, they will respect the strongest person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I see it as well. And strength can come from different places, right? Like, so, maybe this necromancer is up to no good. Also, like we might have like a goblin rebellion on our end or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was also
Yeah.
thinking like I'm just not that kind of guy who has like a big ego, who's like body checking people, showing off how strong I am. It's like now I was
Yeah.
the goblin, I'm used to the goblin lifestyle.
Yeah.
so
Comes
I'm
naturally.
thinking, okay, to Mr. Max, this comes naturally. He's done this all his life. How do I compete with him to give him good role play? I was like, oh, the orc chieftain, he's not even bothered by it, It's like his ego is not scratched because he knows
I was very
well, I have the
disappointed you
power.
did not mention the orc butt though. 'Cause I thought that would be like some very obvious, like the Shrek, green butt, but did not go there. I'm like,
Green-
what? No glutes? No arc glutes?
What are you talking
Gluteus
about?
Optimus,
Because he was naked. He was like banging
Yes.
the slave, and he gets up and you are from behind.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
But
that's
he
something I
said
wanted
he.
to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to talk about this. How did you guys feel about that? Oh, sex scene that's obviously,
Uh-huh.
really, really crass and would disturb a lot of people. How do you guys feel I handled that? And is it something that was like, it was fine, was
I
okay?
I
Like, did it add to the role play or just like oh my God, what the fuck's on the law? You fucked up, German, you.
I might be the most prudish one, and I think it was tastefully done. So I have no qualms against it.
Yeah.
I
I thought
think
he had.
went right where it should go.
I think he added a lot of flavor. Like, what is a human slave, and it's like, oh, in some part of the skin being turned brown and
Yeah,
blue.
that
Man,
was
okay, like
very
it's
realistic.
intense, but like it says like it's not gratuitous, right? It's not like
Exactly.
Yes.
It tells a
it
story.
adds yeah.
You missed an opportunity though. You should have said the war chief puts his cock away
Yeah.
to continue our streak.
Yeah. It was implied, It was implied.
Yeah, he put the loincloth on,
Yeah.
I don't need to mention the obvious. It's
At least we didn't have to role play the obvious erection swinging through the room.
Yeah. I was half expecting you were going to say something about that.
About
he
his like how
stands up
massive
on
his
his
cock.
third leg. I don't know.
Yeah, no, just how stiff or something.
Look, if I
about a
do that, right, I've
45%
got a
stiff.
crack. I've got a crack and laugh, and the moment is ruined.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's something like is it like a Calvin like put like on the private chat about like the name of the orc Mord? Yeah.
The child. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to do like a cinematic thing because we were like, we don't know the name, and I wanted to interrupt right away to the scene, like, like kind of the thing.
Yes.
But I thought, no, I'm not gonna interrupt. But I really wanted to do that.
But I knew the name. That's just like Kaharn just
No,
doesn't
it's
give a
not about
shit.
that because
Yes.
I felt like you just would look cool, like you have like things happening in parallel and like they complement each other.
Yeah.
The interplay between the goblin meetup and you talking about the child.
Oh,
I wanted to
okay.
get like the younger orcs, like what do like young teenage or young adult orcs do? They hang around in the longhouse because they have no home. Dad will kick their fucking ass if they're not working or hunting. So they drink a lot and ask for stories. They want to know like everything about Kaharn because he returned with this awesome dragon head. It's like, what do you mean? Like somebody died? What was his name? Like, it's like one of them was like, oh fuck, Wait, is my friend coming back?
I'm trying. I'm trying to go like this. They pick like this society that has like basically no care for one each other, or very little care, like no compassion, right? Just like
Yeah.
and like even like with like one thing that was very hard for me, right? When this waitress bring me the drink, like I almost like say, "Oh, thank you," right? When I drink, like, but I say no, that wouldn't be like our thing to do. But like, I had no clue. Like, how do you how do
Yes.
you reply to somebody like bring you a drink when you ask for one, right? That is not.
Just a slap on the
You-
on the ass.
You say good girl, slap on the ass. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that's the interesting part for me, right? It's like exploring this this society. There's like exactly like no compassion,
Yeah.
no care, right? Like I guess Karn got some care from Lit for some reason.
It's more like a pet, right? Like a pet of affection. It's not gonna be the end of the world if Omelette
It's like
dies, I guess.
caring for
Yeah.
the dog. He looks up to you,
Yeah.
and without you, he's lost. Like endless affection from Omelets to Karn.
And there's a lot to gain from Omelette, So it is like a super useful asset anyway.
Yeah.
This is my green father. He will protect me.
My green father.
Were
How
you?
do you-
Oh, sorry. Like,
I really struggled playing the wench because I did not know how to flirt with you. Like, man, it went like straight over my head.
Yeah.
Like, where do I take this?
And it's like
I
art,
start.
How do girls think again? And how do
Yes.
orc girls think again?
there's probably like there's probably not even such a thing as flirting, right? And like it's just like you take what you want and
straightforward, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I figured like, well, the orc women might lean more into the flirty way to see like how much is in the fucking head of the orc,
Yeah.
that I can play with, because all the other ones are dumb brutes.
I would have thought like
Boring, dumb brutes.
they might like try to resist just to test if the other orc is strong, right? Or if you
Yeah,
get someone.
yeah, maybe.
A bit of rough play.
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what? She's going along with it because she likes that. She likes attention in that way.
She's a floozy.
I'm being recognized almost.
Exactly.
I imagine that sex is almost as mundane,
Plenty.
and it's probably as mundane as like getting a bite to eat.
Yeah. Except
how I
it's
imagine
more
as well.
fun.
Yeah.
Everything
can lose its flavor. The
Wow. That's a Marxism right there.
How are you feeling, Nicholas, when we're with the necromancer and he was talking about like binding your slave and so did you get nervous at some point?
I thought it was funny. Like I was just expecting to see like how things are gonna go, but I thought it was a very cool moment. It was a very cool moment.
Do you want to
Was,
bind your slaves to your will?
Yeah.
It can be easily done. Just need to
But, like,
snap my finger and it's over.
I decided like you know what? Karn probably doesn't trust that kind of shit, right? Like probably think like he doesn't trust the necromancer very much so. So that's why he was said, nah, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah. But I thought it was a cool moment. Whenever there are like this conflict of interests happening, I think it's very ripe for roleplay. So
and just a random offer to, oh, hey, let me just do this thing for you. It'll be great. What's in it for you?
Ruins your whole character in the meantime. Like, yeah, sure. It's like, no.
Yeah, no, exactly. I want to also like like Nicholas like put some cool stuff out there. I'm curious to see how it's gonna play out. So I want to see that too.
Amazing. All right.
Yeah.
I'm out of thoughts. Right. No combats. Like almost no conflict.
yeah. I didn't even
How do you
roll
feel
anything.
about Yeah, like 2 hours of no conflict. How do we feel
think-
about that?
Only
feel
I'm
happy.
only the one like that make one roll, no?
The
I
Oh
think
no,
Arcana check,
no,
Arcana.
omelette like Mediocana, yeah.
Yeah.
and you
Yeah,
made
I
a
guess that's not
performance.
real D&D.
But I wouldn't say
That's
there
why it
was
was good, right?
I wouldn't I wouldn't say there was no conflict though. There was
No
some scene.
physical.
There was a lot of like tension, right? There's some scene with some tension
Yes.
there, like that could have
Yeah.
devolved in fight, like if like just something like
Mhm.
turning a bit differently, right? Just like
Like Rat
that's all right.
intimidating the merchant.
Yeah,
It was cool.
Yeah, the goblins could start fighting like children, like stab each other to death until like 5 rounds later, an orc comes by like, stop that. You know.
in the
But by
meeting
that
they could have
time, your eye could be gone.
in that secret meeting there could have been like some conflict there as well, like some some
Yeah.
some fight that like in the chief tent, like they could have been in the chief hall. They could have been like some fight there as well, right? Just like
Yeah.
there's some tension, right? Like conflict's just about like people wanting stuff, right? That oppose, right? Just like
Yes. Absolutely. So does it because sometimes I get feedback. Oh,
Tough to hear you, brother.
Your
Yeah.
voice is
Oh.
like okay.
is my voice bad
Yeah.
somehow?
Much
yeah, no,
better.
It's better now.
Okay, I'm pulling it a bit closer then. Well, sometimes I have the feedback of like, oh man, we spent too much time in the town, not doing much, just shopping, you know? And I feel like, well, should I have moved the scene forward faster?
Yeah.
I was thinking of skipping 3 days and say,
Mhm.
as 3 days pass, like orcs come and go, offering their services and stuff like that, and see how you guys handle that. So we can end off with, let's go on the hunt with the party.
Mhm.
Could have been done that way, but I'm also someone that like the slower pace game, and I like like having this talk and stuff like that,
Oh.
right? Just like
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought you would think the opposite, honestly.
no, I
Yeah.
like a
Okay.
slow pace game.
We like Dune, man. It's like you read the book. Read the book. It's like 5 chapters of what people are thinking. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right.
No, when in my game with like Crispy and Phil, I'm always the one dragging along because like I just want to have like those
Mhm.
character interaction and those like making
Yeah, but
Oh, I
deal and
see.
having this
we
tension. It's like this unspoken tension, right? I love that.
now with Omelette though, right? Because we talked about this in the beginning, but I think maybe we can like talk just a little bit about that, like how. Like, do you think it's something that we can do, or maybe it's a shift on how you see the character? Like,
I think maybe I need to kind of flesh out some additional motivations for my character so that when I feel like I have sort of a empty space, I can be working towards something.
Mhm.
Or
you can. I'm not just a suggestion because Red Bastard has been trying to make up your Omelette's mind.
Mhm.
Maybe you could let like it flourish a bit as him, like kind of. Oh, I'll do something I want, like kind of, because that can make more intrigue between us three, our characters.
Yeah.
You could
Maybe
also
like asking, like objecting, like, but wait, like.
you can also like like when you say like, oh, talk to this necromancer, like, and I say like, well, let's go talk to the chief first. You could have said like, well, let's split up, and you could allow yourself more freedom of action, right? Like Kaharn is not like he's pretty soft on you. He's pretty loose on you.
Yeah.
That's
Long-
not like
long
You're,
leash.
everyone.
yeah, you are his favorite dog,
Yeah.
after all.
But it's also like even though like even with Rat Bastard, right? I'm not always on his back, right? I kind of like I'm not like super strict in the sense that I'm not like always looking at him. Like he can go like scurry off and do his stuff, and I don't if I don't need him at the moment, it's like I forget he exists almost, right? So that's also like kind of the way that I see to give you like freedom of action, even though like there's this dynamic going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll try to figure something out.
In a way, it's like extra hard for me because I imagine, all right, at Droid you have a coven or you have a master, the dryad who taught you, or you grew up in the wilderness, raised by the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
But in your situation, you have no connection, no direct connection. You have the innate abilities that you were born with, and discovered naturally. So that makes it harder for me to like give you hooks or NPCs or anything to play with. And I'm not sure if I want to go like a fairy shows up and be like, oh my god, you can see me, you're a druid, let's go on a druidic adventure together. It's like, follow me, hey, listen. And then you eat it because it's a fairy and you're a lizard.
It's a bug.
Maybe I could lean into the animal connection, and maybe it could be I eat an animal and then now I can be that animal type of thing.
That is cool.
Ooh,
Consume
I like
its
that.
heart and brain.
I will say the way you were doing omens, I really enjoyed.
I thought
Were
it
you
was cool.
trying to
Oh,
cast
yeah.
a spell, or were you just trying to be cool
Yeah.
because it was cool?
Well, I don't. So I was that particular like ritual. I had been planning, or I was thinking about how I would cast different spells, because I figured that the spell casting would be something I need to think about in advance as far as like how to role play it.
Oh, I see.
And so before I made the character, or before I nailed down which spells I was going to have prepared, I was considering augury, which
Yes.
is not on the list of spells that, based on our discussion about which rule books and whatnot. So technically, I don't have augury, but I just borrowed the like the description that I thought of.
Yeah, because even if you don't have the spell, you can still do that. Like people do
Just
that in
role
real
play.
life when they don't have spell, right?
So I figured
augury
it'd be just
is
like
a player's handbook spell. It's that's Wheel of Woe. That's available to you.
It's not druid spell.
Let me see. Yeah, it's a cleric spell mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like there's some variants, some druid variants, I guess. So it might be depending on what kind of druid you are.
Well, I don't know, but the point is,
I think it's even cooler if you just don't have the spell and it's just something you do, right? Just like,
yeah. And I was just gonna, because the things that were happening while that was going on was Nicholas Rat Bastard was plotting his schemes.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like looking
I can sense something, right? That's what I got that. I got that.
Yeah, I got that as well.
I was throwing my bones and like a bunch of people are gonna die. Something.
And I tried to bring it back too when we're talking to Necromancer. I tried to give you a chance to bring that back, but maybe they didn't pick up.
I was just sitting there like, okay, you're rolling bones, but I don't know what for, and I don't know if you're looking for a good omen or a bad omen, or how to interpret bones. Because I will say, okay, the bones stand upside down. What does it mean? I have no idea. How would you know?
For DQ, go ahead.
Maybe I should
Yes.
have like prefaced it with like, I'm thinking about our plan to capture this Hydra, and then I'm like, I throw the bones and look for omens, and then it would be more like, oh, you're
Which is great. Like, I understood the concept of Wheel of Woe. You throw bones. Okay, you want to know, is the actions I'm going on good or bad? But I did not know what actions you're implying, so I cannot answer the question because you did not ask a question. You rolled the bones. In which
Right.
case, I'm totally fine if you just 4D and answer to yourself.
yeah, because
In
then
that case.
it could be oh my goodness, I'm like really dropping my vocabulary today, but
No worries.
it doesn't have to be specific to a certain course of action. It could just be Wheel or Woe in general, and then
Yeah.
it's a mystery what particular thing is going to be the bad stuff or good stuff.
You know, it'd be something cool. Just came to me. That you start having dreams, just so you can like throw stuff at Zonar, you know, and he can pick and choose.
That would
That'd be cool.
That would be amazing. Oh wow. I've never played a game where the players come up with the dreams and not me, the game master.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do this thing like, okay, you're all sleeping. What do you dream, Mr. Max? And it just prompt the player. Go
We're gonna
roleplay for me.
Are we gonna discuss Corn Pop streams?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm not sure you want to do that.
Oh my god, why
I
are there
figure
so
he just
many
blacks
women in
out
there?
with wine anyway.
Yeah.
It's a dream of endless drowning in wine, you know, grasping for air just for 7 hours until he wakes up again.
Yeah, or I dream of being old and weak in his bed,
Yeah.
and that's a nightmare for him.
And some half-ass weak orc challenges you to a duel. You're like, oh
Yeah.
my god, I can't have this asshole beat me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's probably a good time to wrap that up, right?
Yep. Sounds good.
So we'll back in 2 weeks, hopefully on Saturday again.
Should be fine.
Not as early.
Thanks for accommodating me, by the way.
It's all right.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you, people. If you're still listening now, subscribe to Mr. Max.
Subscribe to those guy, right? They,
Like and subscribe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Smash
wait,
that motherfucking
yes, that's-
like button.
Yakrep does have a channel now, so you can
Yeah.
add Yakrep. I'll put him
Yeah.
in the description.
Yeah. And Zonalar and Etera RPG.
And, yep. Capital
Right.
RPG. Capital letters.
Sorry, what?
Capital letters. RPG with capital letters. Just to
Oh.
maybe, I don't know if that makes a difference when you look for it, but yeah.
I think it does. Anyway, thank you for everybody that watched live. Thank you everybody that's gonna watch on replay. And well, let us know what you think in the comment down below. Take care. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Because that's how we do it here now. In a fortnight. Yeah. Take care. I'm ending the stream now. Bye.